Hey everybody, Daniel Marinade here with Cowboy Charcoal, and we have got a spring classic for you today. We are taking this beautiful boneless leg of lamb. We're going to show you how to put a fantastic little North African marinade on it, let it sit in your refrigerator for a couple of hours. We're going to put it on a pit barrel. We're going to let that cook low and slow for about 2 hours, maybe an hour and a half or so, and we're going to show you what all that looks like. Today we are cooking exclusively with Cowboy Hickory. We're going to start with putting a little bit of briquettes right in the bottom of our chimney starter, and then we're going to add hickory chunks. So I've been telling you recently that I like cooking with wood, just straight wood, and we're going to show you how to do that today. We're going to get an easy smoke coming from the hickory. We're cooking lamb. So I don't like to overpower lamb with a lot of heavy woods. I wouldn't use mesquite or post oak or anything like that. Obviously use what you like, but I like nice, simple flavors with lamb. So hickory or pecan, I think those are really good flavors. So we've just loaded up our chimney with briquettes and wood chunks. We're gonna get started with that. We're gonna dump it in once it's fully lit. And we may add some wood chunks. We may add a few more briquettes right to the top, but this is how we're gonna get started. So to start a charcoal chimney, several ways. I've seen people using a lot of different starters. They've used pretty creative things from inside their home. I like to make sure I only use natural ingredients, so I'm just using straight butcher paper here. We've made it into the shape of a donut. You can use our Cowboy fire starters, the Woodwolf fire starters. You can use any of the Duraflame fire starter products that are good for outdoor use. How do you like to start your chimney? How do you like to start your fire? There's so many creative, unique ways. I'd like to hear from you. So we've just made our donut. We put it right in the bottom, and we're just gonna light one of the sides. And by the time this is burnt all the way around, we'll have a fully lit charcoal chimney, okay? Now we're gonna let that go just for a little bit. All right, so now that our charcoal chimney is going, you can add a little bit of oil to your paper if you want to make sure that it's burning nice and clean and quickly. Now let's figure out what we're gonna do with this lamb. So a boneless leg of lamb, this is what you're gonna find when you pick this up from the butcher, when you pick this up from the grocery store. We have a fantastic butcher where I am. He got this for us, so it's already boned out. We're gonna take this sleeve off. We're gonna have to roll it back up again as well. But let's take this off here so you can see what we're working with. So there's a little prep work that we need to do with lamb. Not too much. But lamb has such a distinct flavor that you don't really need to do a tremendous amount to it. So let's open our lamb up all the way, and we can see where some of these exposed areas of fat are. And those are areas that we just wanna clean up and take out. You don't really want to dig into that while you're eating. So see these big fat areas? We're just gonna carve those right out from the inside. And you can feel them, they're thick, they're kind of chunky, right? So you just follow your knife all the way down, let your knife do all the work, very easy, and just take that out. So now that our lamb is ready to go, I've changed my glove here so I can use some of these dry ingredients. This North African style leg of lamb, this recipe comes from Mary Graham. It is the best lamb recipe that I have ever tasted. Typically with lamb, I just do some very simple flavors, but this one, you let this marinade sit for a couple of hours. It tastes fantastic. If you aren't following Mary Graham, Grillin' Grandma on Instagram, please get over there and follow her. The recipes that she has are absolutely fantastic. So that's a great follow if you're not following her now. So the ingredients that we have for our lamb, pretty simple. We're just gonna whisk these together. You can put them in a food processor if you like, but we're just gonna add 5 spices here. We've got smoked paprika, cumin, black pepper, allspice, and coriander. Man, they smell great already. We're gonna add some chopped garlic. We'll add some chopped parsley, right? I'm gonna use the marinade that we already have done here, just showing you all the different ingredients. We've got lemon juice that's gonna go in. We've got a little bit of additional salt. I'm just gonna add a little bit. We can add more to the lamb as we continue. We've got a little bit of honey. We've got a little bit of olive oil that we're gonna add. That's gonna help bind everything together. We're gonna add our chopped ginger here. If you put these in a food processor, all of this is gonna grind up and chop up a little bit easier. So it's gonna be a little bit better consistency that you put on your lamb. As we're whisking here, you can really smell this. And one of the 5 spices that we used was allspice. And that really is the key ingredient here that makes it that North African flavor. All of these flavors coming together, that's a very key component, but you can really smell it specifically when you take a whiff. Now, let's look at the differences here. This is the whisked marinade, and this is the marinade that we put in the food processor. So you're gonna get the same look, you're just gonna get a little bit better consistency and a little bit better texture with what you've put in a food processor. Okay, so to that, we're gonna add our lamb, we're gonna add our marinade, and we're just gonna massage all of this marinade into the meat. Fantastic. So now this, you don't necessarily want this to sit too long, up to about 2 hours in the refrigerator prior to cooking, so you can get this ready, you know, in the afternoon before you're ready to cook for the evening. And then again, low and slow. This is gonna cook for about an hour and a half, somewhere around 300 degrees in the pit barrel. That's what we're gonna try to keep the temperature at. So this is a nice low and slow. It's gonna take you about 5 hours from start to finish by the time you start the marinade, get the lamb ready, and then put it on your grill. So our fire's ready to go. We saw how simple it was to get the chimney started with just that little donut, just a little bit of paper on the bottom. That's all you need. You don't need to douse things with lighter fluid. Let's keep it natural. You're using all natural charcoal. You're using all natural wood. There's no need to add unnatural liquid lighter fluid to the top of this, okay? So now that we are ready, we're gonna put our safety glove on, and we're gonna dump this. Now, when we're dumping into the pit barrel for this recipe in particular, we're gonna try and dump all of our charcoal onto the right side, so we have the left side as we drip, and as our fat drips off of the lamb, we're not gonna create more of a fire. So let's get this poured in properly. There we go. All right, so now we're at the step where we're gonna add our, we just need to put 1 bar across because we're only hanging with the one leg, and we need to skewer our leg of lamb. You can see how that marinade just has coated every part of this leg of lamb. The next step is we wanna roll this up nice and tight, and we're just gonna tie it with a little bit of twine, a little bit of string, just to keep it nice and tight. And then you're gonna wanna trim any excess off, so you don't want the string hanging down and catching on fire. And then I'm gonna go across as well. Now, what I've seen people like Derek Wolf at Over the Fire Cooking and Jason Nicoza at Overland Eats, they'll just take this and they'll hang this just like that and let it cook over live fire. You can do that too. It's completely up to you. We'll cut these excess pieces off. All right, so now we're gonna just hook the lamb. We're gonna hook one right close to the front. We've gone through both sides. You can see where the hook has come out here, right? And I'm gonna go the opposite way on this back piece. So we're gonna come right through here, right through, into both sides, and you'll feel it going through both sides. You can see it's come out the other side there. That way you make sure you have a good grip on both sides. Okay, now we're just going right in. Okay. So you can see we've got our zones here. We've got our heat zone where we've got all of our fire coming, and we've got our lamb on the opposite side, so we can make sure that any of the fat that drips down isn't gonna cause a big flare up. And from here, I can tell we're somewhere around 300 degrees, about 350 or so. We're just gonna shut the lid and let the barrel do all of the work, let the hickory flavor add all of its flavoring right to the leg of lamb. And that's done. Now, when you're cooking with hickory, you can see right inside, We've got all of the natural hickory, the brown pieces right in there. That's all natural hickory included right in as bits, right in the charcoal. And these are nice big pieces of hickory that you're gonna find. So don't be afraid to use all natural wood when you're cooking. You don't have to use lump charcoal or briquettes. You can use either style, or you can just go straight over wood. And it's becoming a little bit more popular. People are loving to cook over or natural wood, so give that a shot. So we're cooking over this natural hickory chunk. We're gonna let that cook in the barrel for about an hour and a half, and we'll come back here in a little bit and show you what it looks like. All right, so we've cooked our lamb, our North African spiced leg of lamb. We cooked it a little bit slower, about 2 hours. It cooked at about between 275 and 300 degrees in our pit barrel. You know, the lower that you cook this, the slower that you let your coals go, you just control the air temperature, the more you're gonna get that fat to render and the better flavor that all those fats are gonna provide inside of the meat. So we let that cook for about 2 hours. We let it temp at 145, and then we've taken it off, we've wrapped it, and it's been resting here for about 20 minutes. It's really important to make sure that you let your meats rest so you don't get all of the juices that immediately run out and all over your cutting board when you take your meat out and you start cutting. So let's see what this looks like. It smelled so good when we were taking it off. Oh man, it smells great. Look at this. You've got all of that nice red color that comes out from the smoke. Oh, it smells fantastic. We have some of our string here that we use to tie it, so we just want to make a simple little cut just to remove those strings. You're going to get some of these pieces that just fall off. This is why you want to make sure that you tie everything so you don't get those pieces just fall into your grill. But we take a look at this, and we're going to slice it just on the bias. Perfect temperature, 145. And since we let it rest, you're not getting all these juices that immediately run out. That spice, you really have a fantastic flavor that comes through with that cumin and coriander, and all of those spices just taste fantastic. So we're just gonna cut through this into pieces, and we're gonna layer that right on our cutting board. Now we had a little bit of extra time, so we tried to get a little fancy. We roasted some potatoes here, just a simple roast over hot fire for about 15 minutes with olive oil, parsley, salt and pepper. We grilled some veggies, and we just put some of our favorite seasoning right on the top. I think I used our umami seasoning from Spiceology, and just to cover, just to give yourself something to go with the lamb and while you're cooking. So we take off all of our string, and we'll just slice through the rest of this. And just straight down. That's cooked perfectly. You can see we've got a beautiful smoke ring all the way around the outside. And that's really, you don't want a deep smoke ring in lamb. You don't want to overpower, it's a delicate meat, so you don't want to overpower it with smoke. So most of the chunks that we put in the barrel as we cooked, we let those cook down all the way, so we had a nice clear smoke to be able to cook with. And we were using most of the chunks for heat, not necessarily just a bunch of smoke flavor. So we've got all of this beautiful smoke ring. We've got all of this beautiful marbleization and color on the outside from our hickory chunks and our briquettes. We've got that North African flavors in there with the cumin and smoked paprika and allspice. Tastes absolutely fantastic. I've got to have another piece because this tastes so darn good. Excellent, excellent. And then simply we're just gonna add this right to our board. All right, so we're just gonna serve this family style. We've got our sliced lamb, we've got our potatoes, zucchini that we just threw on the grill just for a couple of minutes just to get some nice char and great flavor. We top that with umami seasoning from Spiceology and Girl Carnivore, great seasoning. We can top it with just a little bit of seasoning salt. You wanna make sure that you just add a little finishing salt to everything you cook, just to make sure that you help those flavors out as much as possible. We're gonna pour a simple little glass of a red blend. This one's from Milagro Farm in the Julian area. Beautiful place. Oh man, that goes perfect, perfect with lamb. Thanks for joining, everybody. For more of these great recipes, please make sure you like and subscribe. Until next time, I'm Daniel Mosnet. We're cooking with Cowboy.